Your kid lost it on the kitchen floor yesterday over a banana. Full sobbing meltdown over absolutely nothing. The kind that makes you wonder if you're the problem here. You are not the problem at all. There are 10 weirdly specific toddler behaviors that look like trouble and turn out to mean you're her safest person on earth. Pay close attention to number 5. It almost broke my husband for a few months. Number 1. The afternoon meltdown that comes out of nowhere. You buckle her into the car seat after preschool feeling proud. The teacher said she shared at snack time and she hugged her best friend goodbye at the front door. By the time you reach your kitchen, she is sobbing on the floor about a banana with too many brown spots. A whole morning of holding it together at preschool with people who aren't her main attachment figure has been quietly draining her tank. She walks through your front door and the dam breaks. Toddlers don't have the brain wiring yet to regulate big emotions across an entire day. So they ration what they show, holding it together for the parts of life where they don't fully relax. The minute they walk into a place that feels safe, all of that stored up emotion comes out at once. Dr. Becky Kennedy probably already lives in your Instagram feed if you've spent any time there. She talks about this in a way that finally made it click for me. The wider the range of feelings a kid can show you while still feeling completely loved, the more securely attached she actually is. The screaming on the kitchen floor is what attachment looks like in practice. So next time the meltdown happens after a long preschool day, take a slow breath before you respond to her. She is melting down because you are her safest landing place at the end of a long day. Number 2. The bathroom shadow. You can't pee alone, fold laundry in the bedroom, or reach for a bowl in the kitchen cabinet without a small body attached to the back of your leg. There's a name for what your toddler is doing when she trails you around the apartment all day long. Attachment researchers call it proximity seeking. And it's one of the cleanest signs her attachment system is working the way it's supposed to. Her nervous system stays calmer when you are within sight. So her body keeps you close by physically following you around the house. The pattern intensifies during anything that taxes her sense of safety, like new environments, overtired evenings, or anything unfamiliar. Same with the kid who hides behind your knees at a birthday party. She is using you as her secure base while she figures out whether the room is safe. I used to find this completely exhausting until I understood what was actually happening. She was confirming on a quiet loop that I hadn't disappeared on her. That confirmation is what makes her brave enough to play independently for the other 20 hours of the day. The next time she is hovering outside the bathroom door asking whether a T-Rex would beat a dragon in a fight, remember what the hovering is for. It's how she keeps confirming that her safe person hasn't gone anywhere. The behaviors in items 1 and 2 are about how she shows up at home with you. The 3 behaviors coming up are different. They are about how she actively chooses you, sometimes uncomfortably, over every other adult in her life. Number 5 is the one I warned you about in the intro. Number 3, the hug interruption. You and your husband share a quiet hug in the kitchen, and a small wrecking ball comes barreling across the floor and physically wedges herself between your knees. Or you pick up the new baby and your 3-year-old suddenly needs to be held, this exact second, with both arms. This one feels embarrassing in front of in-laws. The mechanism underneath is real attachment psychology, and it goes back to a developmental leap toddlers make right around the age of 2.5. That's when they first start grasping that love can be directed at multiple people at once. It is a huge cognitive leap, and they tend to handle it badly the first few hundred times. The default toddler strategy is to climb back into the spot where they were sure of you. The fix is the slow work of repetition. You hold the hug, scoop her in, and say something like, "You can sit on my lap while I cuddle daddy," over and over for months until her brain genuinely believes there is enough of you to go around. A toddler who pulls this move with you is forming a deeply held belief that you belong to her in some real way. That belief is going to be the foundation for warm, secure relationships in her adult life. Number 4, the way she runs to you when she's hurt. She trips on the playground and skins her knee on the rubber mat. Without looking around, she runs straight at you with her arms out and tears already starting. Toddlers vary a lot in how they respond to physical pain. Some freeze in place, while others gravitate toward whichever adult is closest, even if that adult is a stranger. A handful pull inward and don't seek comfort from anyone at all. The kid who runs across a playground straight to you has built up a record over many months. She knows you'll show up, that you can handle her hard moment without making it worse, and that being held by you helps with the actual pain. Watch any playground for a few minutes and you'll see this scene. A kid takes a hard fall, scans the bench area for her specific mom, locks eyes from across the rubber play area, and tears over to her sobbing at full speed. The mom usually looks tired. She probably is exhausted from all of it. But that little run is what months of consistent comforting build inside a child. If your kid runs to you when she is hurt, you have already done more than you realize. Number 5, the brutal only mommy phase. This is the one I warned you about in the intro. The only mommy phase wrecked my husband. He spent months feeling rejected by his own kid, and I spent the same months feeling guilty about it. The whole thing made the lowest period of our marriage so far. Somewhere between 2 and 4, a lot of toddlers go through a phase where one parent is essentially fired from the bedtime routine, the bath, the breakfast pour, the morning shoe situation. Dad reads the bedtime book in the nursery, and the kid screams that she only wants mommy. Mom hands the book over and gets back an hour of her evening, except now mom feels guilty and dad feels rejected, and the whole evening is upset. Something nobody told me when we were in the middle of it. The only mommy phase is a developmental snapshot of one specific window. It says basically nothing about the long-term relationship between dad and the kid. What is happening underneath is that toddlers, when they are working through big developmental jumps, anchor themselves to one primary attachment figure to handle the cognitive load. They are essentially saying, the world is too much for me right now. I can only track one safe person at a time. And that person is you. The same kid will often switch later, sometimes dramatically, and only want dad for months. The dad who keeps showing up for bedtime, even when he is being told to leave, is the dad who'll be the favorite next year. Steady persistence and warmth is what gets a family through the phase. For moms in the middle of it, exhausted and touched out and feeling guilty about all of it, the fact that your kid will only let you put her to bed is a developmental compliment. You are paying for it in sleep and patience. If you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. I make videos like this every week for moms in the toddler trenches who just want to know they are not the only ones noticing this stuff. Now back to the list of behaviors. The first half of these behaviors are about how your kid acts toward you in the moment. The next three are subtler. They are about what your toddler trusts you with that no other adult in her life gets to see. Number 6, the worry confessions at bedtime. It is bedtime, the lights are off, and you are about to sneak out of the bedroom when your 3-year-old whispers something she hasn't said all day. Maybe she is worried about the new kid at preschool, or the dog scared her this morning at breakfast, or she misses grandma so much it actually hurts. These worries are reserved for one specific moment of her entire day. They come out in the dim glow of the bedside lamp with you in the small window before sleep takes her. This is one of the most underrated signs that you have built something real with her. Your kid has learned that her hardest feelings get a soft response from you, so she saves them for you at the safest moment of her entire day. The temptation, when you've been waiting all evening to get her to sleep, is to brush past these confessions with a quick, okay, sweetie, good night. Try not to do that tonight. A 2-sentence acknowledgement, something like that does sound scary. I'm right here with you, keeps the door open between you for the years ahead. The kids who tell you their worries at 3 years old are the ones who'll tell you their worries at 13 years old. Number 7, the pile of treasures on the kitchen counter. A wet leaf, 3 pebbles from the front yard, a cracker with 1 bite missing, a plastic dinosaur with a broken leg, and a piece of crayon she found jammed under the living room couch. If your kitchen counter or your bedroom dresser or the inside of your handbag is slowly accumulating an inventory of the world's most useless objects, your toddler is in love with you. This is genuinely how small kids express affection. They don't have the words yet, so they bring you objects instead. When a 2-year-old runs across the playground holding a stick out and pushes it into your hand, she is sharing her world with the person she loves the most. She is also watching your face the whole time for the smile to land. It is the same instinct adults express when they bring their partner coffee in the morning. Small, humble, and easily missed if you have one hand on a phone and the other on a sippy cup. The act of repeatedly choosing you, out of every adult in the room, to receive the rock or the leaf or the half-eaten cracker, is one of the clearest love languages little kids actually have. So accept the rock when she gives it to you on the playground. Put it on the windowsill in the kitchen and leave it there for a few days. Tell her it is the best rock you've ever seen, even if it is the 7th rock that day. Especially if it is the 7th rock that day. Number 8, the way she comforts her stuffed animal. Your 3-year-old is sitting cross-legged on the rug with a stuffed bunny in her lap. The bunny is upset about something, you can't quite hear what. Then she leans down and says in your exact tone of voice, "It's okay, bunny. I'm right here. Take a deep breath." That is your voice coming out of her mouth. The exact same words and tone you used last week when she got frustrated with the puzzle pieces. When toddlers play out caregiving with their stuffed animals, they are working out their internal model of how love feels. They are using your phrases, copying your tone, even mirroring your gestures. The script she runs on the bunny is the script you have been running on her ever since she was born. That little playtime moment is the most direct evidence you'll ever get that she has internalized you as a comforting presence inside her own head. She is offering back to a stuffed bunny exactly what you've been offering to her on the hardest nights. If you have ever wondered whether the soft voice you used at 2 in the morning when she had a fever actually landed inside her, that bunny scene is your answer. Your voice landed inside her. It became part of how she comforts herself when nobody is watching. The last 2 behaviors on the list are the subtlest ones. They show up in the small, repeating rituals between you and your toddler, and they tend to hide in plain sight unless you know what to look for. Number 9, the same book every single night. You have read Goodnight Moon every single night for weeks at this point. You have it memorized at this point, and so does your husband, and the family dog has almost certainly picked it up by osmosis. Every time you reach for a different book on the shelf at bedtime, your 3-year-old breaks into tears like you have personally betrayed her. The repetition is how toddlers regulate themselves around the hardest transition of the day, which is leaving you and going into a dark room alone for the night. The bedtime book that has to be the exact same book, the kiss that lands on the forehead and not the cheek, the lullaby in the one specific order, all of it is the same instinct showing up in different costumes. Your child is using predictable rituals around her connection to you to feel safe through the dark hours of the night. This is also how the toddler brain wires itself to borrow your calm. The child takes your steady presence in through the routine. Over time, she learns to generate that calm internally on her own, even when you are not in the room with her. So when you are reading Goodnight Moon for the millionth time in the bedroom, and you are exhausted, and you are tempted to skip a page, try not to skip it tonight. The page is part of how she trusts you. That is the trade you are making with her every single night. Number 10. The look back during independent play. Watch your toddler the next time she is playing independently in the living room with her blocks, or her stuffed animals, or her little toy kitchen. Sit on the couch with a book and pretend you are not watching at all. Then count how many times in the next 10 minutes she glances over her shoulder to check that you are still there on the couch. That little glance is called the secure base check-in. The child is using your presence as a launch pad for her own exploration around the room. She is just confirming that you exist on the couch behind her. Then she can go back to building her tower with the blocks. You can support this one by doing very little, which is the gift of it. There is no need to get on the floor and narrate her play with the dolls. Just sit on the couch with a cup of coffee, look up when she looks up, smile at her, and go back to your book. That is enough on its own. The play part is hers to figure out alone. Your job is to be a reliably present body at the edge of the room. That is the whole job in that quiet afternoon moment of her day. Once you start noticing the glance, you'll see it everywhere in your house. Every minute or so, all afternoon long, she is confirming you are still there. That confirmation is the foundation underneath everything else on this list. Look at the whole list together for a second. You've got the kitchen floor meltdowns, the shadow at the bathroom door, and the wedge between you and your husband during a hug. Then the run across the playground when she falls, the worries whispered into your shoulder at bedtime, and the only mommy phase that breaks dad for a season. And then the rocks on the kitchen counter, the bunny voice in afternoon play, the same exact book every single night, and the glance over the shoulder during independent play. Every single one of those behaviors is a love letter your toddler doesn't have the words to write yet. Parenting a toddler often feels like you are winging it and failing at the same time. These 10 behaviors tell a different story than the one in your head. The moments where you feel most like a failure are usually the moments where she is quietly proving the bond between you is the strongest thing in her entire world. The proof shows up in the inconvenience. Subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. I'll see you in the next one.